Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. I'm Amy, spelled with two E's, and I am the CEO and founder of Irresistible University. Through my podcast and courses, I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size. Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 219. And today, the topic is stop just asking me and asking other people how much weight we've lost. Stop asking that as your only question. All right. So let's break that down a little bit, shall we? So, whenever we hear about someone losing weight or we see someone embarking on a new weight loss journey, especially with the new GLP-1 injections, we want to know how much weight they've lost, right? And it's a valid question. It's a very valid question. It's a question that I also ask. It's a question that I also research when I was deciding to take this route for myself personally. And speaking from experience, I actually hate that question. I hate that question because it doesn't take other things into consideration. I get it. We want the quickest, easiest way out, right? We want to know, well, how much weight did you lose? Is it worth it? Because we're thinking like, should I do it too? Okay. And since I started these injections last year, my husband and I did them together. Frank has lost 70 pounds. Like, he is at his goal weight. He looks amazing. He's hitting the gym. He's got muscles in places he didn't have muscles before. Like, he looks good, okay? I've lost 20 pounds in the same amount of time. Now, just for context around that, I am still down 56 pounds from my highest weight of 270 when I delivered Javi in 2020. I'm down 21 pounds since I started the injection. So I do have to remember that I've kind of been going at this for a very long time in a very slow pace, and that's okay. You can't compare yourself to others, especially if you're a woman comparing yourself to a man's weight loss. It's not the same, okay? It's just not. So I have those feelings, right? Where I see the difference in where he's at and where I am and where I still have to go. And I start thinking I'm a failure. I start thinking I'm not doing this fast enough. And I get back into that mindset. And I have to remind myself about the differences and that it's not just about the number on the scale in terms of the weight loss. Nobody ever asks you, how much have you maintained? How long have you maintained your current weight? Nobody ever asks you, have you gained anything back? Nobody ever asks you, how are you feeling? How are you feeling since you started the injections? How are you feeling since you lost some of the weight? Nobody ever asks how many inches you've lost or, how many sizes you've changed and gone down in. Nobody asks you if your inflammation has gone away, right? No one ever asks you if your A1C and your blood sugar are back in a good range. Nobody asks you how your mental health has improved as a result of your journey. No one asks these questions, and they don't ask these questions because they think the number on the scale is the only way to judge if this is working or not. And a lot of this stems from our obsession with diet culture, our obsession with desperate dieting. We just want to know how much did you lose and how long did it take? That's always the follow-up. Well, how long did it take? We just want fast, easy results. And I am here to tell you that is not how this works. It don't get fast, easy results, okay? Nobody wants to put the work in to do the other things that I just talked about. Nobody wants to put the work in to work on their mental health, to lose their emotional weight so they can clear out the blocks that are stopping them from losing the physical weight. Nobody wants to talk about that. But that is the journey. That is what it's all about. It's a well-rounded approach to get to the goal that you're getting at. And when I look at Frank and I, the big difference here is he was not an emotional eater. He was not a binge eater. He was someone that was eating big portions of food, and he was eating big portions of food when I met him 20 years ago. And as time has marched on, he can no longer put that food away like he used to, and so he started to gain weight. It was not an emotional weight gain. It was not binge eating. And when I was talking to him and I talked to him about food noise and how the injections help with the food noise, he never has understood that because he's never gone through that. Okay? So our journey looks very different where he doesn't have to work on those things. Once he was able to remove the constant hunger, the physical hunger, it was easy for him in that regard. Okay? And getting fuller faster, the medication helps with that and whatnot. So you can't compare your journey to someone else when you think of it that way, right? I have to work really hard for every ounce, for every pound, for every intruding thought about food and about, wanting to indulge in a craving or what have you, okay? So I also want to say that this episode is not to shame or knock anyone that has asked this question before. And hell, I asked that question, right? I told you that at the beginning. I've asked the question before. We all want to know that. And I get it. I totally do. So this is not to knock anyone who has personally asked me that. It's to spread awareness and education that we need to think of our weight loss journeys very different. Because all of us get stuck in plateaus, right? All of us get stuck at a certain weight and we stay there for a while. And instead of embracing that and celebrating that we're maintaining and not gaining, we associate that with some type of failure. And I am here to tell you that's not true. So if you are going through this journey and you are the one who is only asking yourself, how much weight have I lost? You have to change your mindset around this, because asking yourself and focusing on how much weight you've lost and what the number on the scale is only a portion of this journey. When you are an emotional binge eater, a chronic yo-yo dieter, there are lots of layers to this game, right? This is not just about eat less, move more, watch the scale go down. It's not that simple. It's not that easy for us. We have to work on these other areas of our life in order to clear out the junk and the clutter to be able to lose the physical weight in the first place. Okay? And so weight loss is complex. We are complex as human beings. Weight loss is complex when you are coming from that background that I just described. I know early on in my journey, before kids, when I was at my highest, non-pregnancy weight, I was in a really dark place. And I kept gaining weight. I didn't understand why. It would come as a shock to me. Like, oh my God, I can't believe my little short shorts that I used to wear in high school right after graduation won't even go over my knees, basically. And I would have those zone outs periodically where I would lose a little bit and then I would gain it all back and be like, oh, how did this happen? How did I get here? And this is before I learned that it was about more than just losing the weight. It was about more than just cutting back on food. It was about more than just counting points. It was about more than just desperately dieting on whatever trend was out there to get the weight off as fast as possible. I didn't drink water back then. I didn't eat fruit. I didn't eat a banana until I was in my 20s, okay? I didn't like salads. I didn't know how to eat vegetables and salads in a way that tastes delicious and amazing. I didn't crave those things back then because I didn't know any better. I didn't know how to have self-control. Once I got out on my own and graduated and could spend my own money and go to restaurants, I didn't have any self-control over what I was ordering. I would order the appetizer, the big ass meal, the big ass dessert, and not have leftovers to go home because I would eat everything in front of me. I didn't have nature as my outlet. I didn't have meditation and prayer. I didn't have that part of me yet. I didn't know I needed that part of me yet to get through this journey. I associated being outdoors as like, those are those crunchy, khaki shorts wearing people. Like, that's not me. I fell in love with the outdoors. I fell in love with kayaking. I fell in love with hiking. I fell in love with just being outside in nature to soothe my soul. I didn't even know what that meant, to soothe my soul. I was overeating. I had no self-awareness. I had no self-control. I was binge eating, binge drinking, living for the weekend, and only cared about partying, and that was it. And that was a very unhealthy version of me. When I look back now, I don't recognize me. I don't. Because over time, as I learned enough is enough, I'm done with this weight gaining bullshit. I am done with bouncing back and forth. I am done using food as some kind of coping mechanism. I have to make changes, and it's not going to just be learning how to eat. I already know how to eat. I already know how to eat less. I already know how to eat in moderation at that point. Okay. So it was about learning that I have to approach this from a physical, mental, and emotional place. I have to break down all of the beliefs and all of the rules and all of the negative things that have been said to me that I internalized as rules for me. I have to break those rules. I have to shatter those rules and rebuild and make my own rules in this game. I have to build back my confidence in myself. I have to show myself that I can do what I say I'm going to do. I have to show myself that I can be confident at 270 pounds or 180 pounds. I have to build back that confidence and make confidence the queen. Okay? I have to learn how to be present in my body even when I don't like how it feels. I have to learn how to be in the moment when I don't like what I see in the mirror. I don't have to accept what I see in the mirror, right? I have to acknowledge it and go on about my day and live my life the best way I can while I'm in a bigger size. I have to learn how to be in the moment and not disassociate and check out because I don't like the body that I'm in. I had to learn how to do that, how to get through events and enjoy being there and not being so obsessed and focused on what I look like. I had to learn how to be still within myself and learn how to feed my soul, to stop feeding my cravings, my hunger cravings or my emotional food cravings, and start feeding my cravings outside of that. What am I craving in life that I'm not getting? What am I not doing? Where am I not fulfilled in my life that I need to fill that craving? And filling it with food and filling it with no self-control around food is not the answer. That is not going to get you where you need to go or where you want to go. I had to learn how to practice self-care, take better care of myself, not just losing weight, but like how to take better care of my appearance no matter where I am on the scale so that I can feel confident in myself. When you feel good, when you look good, you feel good, you do good, right? I firmly stand behind that. So a weight loss journey, when you're an emotional binge eater, you have to have all of those 5 components that I just talked about. And as I went through my journey, and I'm still on my journey, I will always be on this journey, but when I went through that process of it, of going, oh shit, this was missing the whole time. It's not just about food and reducing the food intake and increasing your time in the gym. No. That is what laid the foundation and became the Irresistible You framework. Those are the 5 guiding principles that are embedded in my programs, in my content, and in my podcast. And I know from experience, living my life every single day, that is what has helped me more than a weight loss plan, more than a meal plan. Sure, we need a meal plan, we need those things, but that is a minuscule part of this journey, okay? And so, I'm 56 pounds down from my highest. I'm 21 pounds down since I started the injections. And for the past month, I have been bouncing back. I got down to my new low was 214. And in the past month, I have bounced from 214 back to 215, back to 217, back to 218, from 218 all the way back to 214. And this bounce back has been going on for like a month. And in diet culture, in the desperate dieting mindset, we see ourselves bouncing back and forth a few pounds after we've lost a significant amount of weight, and we beat ourselves up. We tell ourselves we're not good enough. We tell ourselves that we are a failure. We tell ourselves, see, I told you you're meant to be a fat ass the rest of your life. You can't do it. Ha, ha, ha. Like, we do that to ourselves. But let me tell you what we don't always do. And what I do and what I have learned to do over the years is that, yes, I am bouncing back and forth. I have noticed this as a pattern for me. As I'm coming down the scale more and more, I will get to a certain weight. I will stay there for a week, go back up a little, go back down. It kind of does this ping pong thing for about a month where the body, in my opinion, is at this new low and is getting used to this, that weight again and what it takes to stay there and maintain there, and then what it's going to take again to drop. And so I have recognized this in my journey. Is it going to take me longer? Yes. Am I okay with that? Yes. I don't need to compare myself to anyone else. This is my journey. I don't give a shit what you think about it. I don't give a shit what Sally over there thinks about it. I don't care what anybody has to say about me and my journey because I know what I'm doing. Okay? And you need to be the same way about yours. So I kind of do this bounce back thing, but what we don't always recognize is for that past month, guess what? I might be going back from bouncing between 214 and 218, but you know what I'm not doing? I sure as shit am not bouncing back to the 220s. I'm not bouncing back to the 230s. I'm not bouncing back to the 240s. I'm not bouncing back into 250s. I'm not bouncing back to 260s. And I sure as shit am not bouncing back to the 270s. Okay? We're not doing that anymore. We're not going to see those decades again. And so when it's a couple pounds, 2 to 4 pounds, 5 pounds that you're bouncing around, when you've lost over 50, over 20, over 70, over 100, give yourself some freaking credit here. The body's going to do what the body's going to do. And sometimes it's going to have to do this to set and regulate into this new set point for you. And, in the past month, I haven't seen those numbers again. In the past month, there's been a month of me fitting into my clothes better. We were at Sam's Club the other day and I had my, these black fitted, they were fitted biker shorts that I wear all the time. And Frank was like, you need to buy some new shorts. And I'm like, excuse me, what? He's like, your ass is not, it's sagging. We can't have that. He's like, you need to go down a size. Like they're too big. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, I didn't realize that. And I'm like, I guess they are fitting big and here's what's crazy to me is I wore these shorts to Disney World. We did our big family trip in 2021. I wore these shorts for the first time. I bought them for the trip. I wore them the first day and they're kind of like the compression bikers that are supposed to pull you in a little bit. I was so uncomfortable with those because they were tight. I felt like they made my fat rolls bigger. Like I didn't wear them the rest of the trip. I actually took my other black shorts and I washed them. We had a washing machine in the room and I washed them so I could rewear those in the trip because I didn't want to put these on again. So the fact that these shorts are now giving me saggy ass is amazing, right? So in the past month, that's a month of me fitting in my clothes better. That's a month of me having less food noise. That's a month of me having no binge eating sessions. That's a month of me not emotionally eating. We were fast food junkies, the two of us. I used to love Wendy's, okay? I don't know. I literally do not know the last time I went through a Wendy's drive-thru. I couldn't tell you. Don't know. Do not know the last time I went to a McDonald's. Don't know. Have I gone to Chick-fil-A? Yes. Do I order, grilled chicken most of the time? Also, yes. So that's a month of me not going and eating disgusting, grease, fat, infested food. I'm not doing it. I don't even want to do it. That's a month of me feeling less inflamed inside of my body. I was waking up with my hands, my feet feeling sore, feeling numb, feeling just like they're full of liquid or something, right? That's a month of me, longer than a month, but you get where I'm going at with we're talking about when we just focus on the bouncing back and forth. That's a month of me having more energy. That's a month of me taking more walks. That's a month of me being more active with my kids. That's a month of me not sitting on my ass doing nothing. That's a month of me not sliding backwards into a mentally dark place. That is a month of me not having disturbing thoughts because of said dark place. Celebrate that shit. Stop just asking people, how much weight have you lost? That is not the only thing that matters here. My mental health and not living in a dark, scary space in my brain anymore means more to me than any number on the scale. I will take that any day. I will stay a little chubby the rest of my life if that's what it takes. I don't care. Let's celebrate people not being pre-diabetic anymore. Let's celebrate people getting their blood pressure down. Let's celebrate people being healthier, walking more, being active, being outside, having positive mental health and emotional health. Let's celebrate people choosing to go out in nature versus choosing to gorge themselves until they can't breathe. It's not just about how much weight did you lose? How much weight are you losing? Get out of the before and after photo thing. Let's get out of the diet culture before and after story. We are a before and during story. This will always be a journey for me. You don't get to the finish line and be like, okay, well, let me go back to what I was doing. Well, you've done that. You know what's going to happen. You're going to be right back where you started from. So let's get into having a before and during. That's what this is about. It's not just about the number on the scale. It's about the non-scale victories. It's about recognizing that you don't recognize yourself 10, 15 years ago, because I don't. And in a good way. I don't recognize that version of me. That is growth. That is success. That is what matters. Yes, getting the physical weight off feels great. And it feels great because you see the scale go down, you see the number go down, you see your size go down, but think about all the other things in your life that got better. And they didn't just get better because you lost the pounds. They got better because during the journey, you learned how to take better care of yourself. You learned how to improve your mental health. You learned how to stop emotionally eating. You learned how to feed your soul instead of feeding your cravings. That's what matters. And that's what I want for every person that listens to this podcast to experience in their lifetime. I want you to get off the yo-yo diet, body hate shame cycle, desperate dieting, bullshit hamster wheel, and come over to this side where we are doing the work to live our life by those 5 guiding principles. Break the rules, make confidence queen, be in the moment, feed your soul, and get your glam on. Those are missing from your life, and you need those. And keep listening to the podcast. There's over 200 episodes where you can go back and you can listen and you can, glean whatever you need to glean from these episodes. So, yeah, that's it. We are done here. We are done for the day. I hope this is helpful. I hope you can take something, a nugget from this, and you can apply it to your life. That is the point here. It's one thing to listen, but if you're not applying and if you're not taking nuggets and implementing those in your life, then you're missing out on something. Okay. So, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I want to remind you that the best place to listen to the Irresistible You podcast is through the Amazon Music app. If you are an Amazon Prime member, you already have free access to Amazon Music. There are millions of songs, albums, and podcasts over there. If you are not an Amazon Prime member, I have a link for a 30-day free trial. Find that in the show notes. Sign up. Check it out. I promise you're going to love it. And if you're listening through Apple or Spotify, please go over and leave a rating and review. Those are very helpful. They let me know what you're thinking about the show. They also help other people who don't know I exist find this podcast and this community. You can follow up with me after the episodes at Irresistible Icing over on Instagram. And also there is an Irresistible You podcast discussion group on Facebook. All of those are linked in the show notes. I would also encourage you to get on my email list. We never know what's going to happen with social media. Social media is going to social media and act crazy. But if you are on my email list, you won't miss anything because we will be able to stay in touch. So on that note, I thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here once again. Until next time, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.